Yeah, of course, drinking water abstraction by bank filtration is only the overall topic. My presentation on behalf of my colleague of Ernest Meyer is on a systematic literature matrix of the state of the art in research and practice. We came across this work together with some study for the waterworks of Vienna, we were starting with, we wanted to start with a review of the existing literature of research and practical implementation on this topic. In Austria, bank filtration sites exist near Danube River, Enns, Inn and Mur, and for Vienna area especially there exist some groundwater wells which are very close to the river and where bank filtration processes are predominant. That's the waterwork of Nussdorf, that's Donauinsel Nord and Lobau. Overall, at the moment, this accounts only for 50% of the total water consumption in Vienna, but these resources are a strategic resource for future use or strategic sources for specific operation conditions. The direct motivation for the study was that there is ongoing an ecological project in the area of Vienna where in the existing riparian forest of the Lobau the nature protection people want to have some ecological project to revitalize the riparian forest of Lobau, and it should be done by dotation of water like a flooding cycle from River Danube or from the new Danube, which is this flood protection project in the Vienna area. And directly in this riparian forest, which should be naturalized, because the nature people are saying that otherwise this riparian forest will definitely change, eventually change to not a riparian forest. Directly in this area, Vienna Waterworks has an abstraction area for water supply. And one aim of the study was to give some more information which could be the impacts of this planned renaturation project together with the impacts on the abstraction wells of Vienna Waterworks. The main point now at this moment was to summarize the state of the art of knowledge together with the processes which could occur with bank filtration, with additional dotation of the retention area for the abstraction wells, and to develop some project referring to the requests of water supply. You here see, maybe you do not see, but you should be impressed that we made quite a complex structure of this project, but of course we are then going down again to the single steps, only that you see the overall frame. River water quality and risk potential for the abstraction for water supply production, of course, was the main issue. And we wanted to focus on qualitative processes which could be, which occur in bank filtration or which could occur together with additional dotation in the area. and derived from this what could be relevant monitoring and control measures for the management. We had this structure afterwards that we wanted to go from, as Florian already showed, we have always together with the bank filtration, we have this river water quality, then we have the infiltration area in the river, then the passage, underground passage to the well. We have landside groundwater, and we have unsaturated zone in the retention area where, depending on the dotation or on flooding events, there could be additional water and additional impact on the underground water. As you may know, together with bank filtration, there is an enormous quantity of literature, and we wanted to collect it and to learn out of the literature, but we wanted at the same time to get structured information or easily readable information. That is to say, we did not only go through all the literature, but we wanted also to place it at the point where the information is relevant out of the literature. That is to say, obtain detailed information on important parameters and their changes as a function of their spatial allocation within the filtration path. And that is to say, we structured the information along the filtration path from surface water to well and from landside groundwater and from processes in the retention area. Then we made an additional structure for physical, chemical, microbiological, and so-called other parameters, and in addition for black box models, which means that this literature was not going into detail where the things are occurring, but had only an input and an output value, for instance. We wanted to facilitate an optimized access to the collected information using the structured matrix to organize the literature. We did this work in 2009. Of course, there is now additional information available which should be brought into this matrix. We went through 224 publications. Of course, we wanted to have a scope of the international literature, and for the study it was, of course, of specific interest to have specific information about the situation in Vienna. In addition, we made visits to other waterworks, for instance, for Basel, and also, of course, we went to the godfathers of bank filtration, to DZW Karlsruhe. The structure of the literature matrix, as I told before, it was spatial on the one side, thinking of surface water as first step, then the riverbed, hyporheic, interstitial, which means it should be the first 1 meter of underground passage, and then the flow in the saturated zone towards the abstraction well and unsaturated zone of the retention area, which was of special interest in the case of our study, and directly the processes at the collection well. As I said before, in addition to this specific information which could be spatially located, there were additional information or additional literature on filter experiments and on aquifer storage and recovery systems, and they were assigned to four matrices and as black box models. The literature was assigned to the matrix according to substances. You will see it later, substance groups or bulk parameters, as well as according to described process and their spatial allocation within the infiltration flow path. In this way, one publication can refer to one or more spatial processes, spatial located processes. They could refer to specific parameters or groups of substances or bulk parameters. There were directly created four separate matrices for physical, chemical, microbiological, and so-called other parameters. Here you see one example of this structure. You see in the first column, it's the definition where is the process occurring, in this case riverbed and hyporheic interstitial, then which kind of process, clogging, filtration, sorption, biodegradation, inactivation, solution process, hydrolysis and elimination. And depending on bulk parameters or substances or specific substance or substance groups, we put in this matrix the reference, the citation for what was said, which aspect was described in the literature, and put the number of each citation into this matrix. The overall, the bulk parameters, for instance, were dissolved organic carbon, SAC, and natural organic matter, or substance groups were particulate substances, bacteria, cryptosporidia, iron hydroxide, and hydroxides, and specific substances, for instance, nitrate and acidic acetate esterase, for instance. That is to say, we had quite a broad variation of quite a detailed discretization of our matrix. Eventually, 470 citations from 70 publications were summarized and assigned to 81 parameters in four matrices at different spatial parts, including black box models. That is to say, for physical parameters, we had 22 citations for different 7 parameters, and chemical parameters, 330 citations, microbiological parameters, 111 citations. You see, it was quite a lot of work to go all this literature through and to assign it to specific aspects. These specific citations are compiled in the reference book. Page number in the reference book are given for all citations in the matrices to get easy access to relevant information. The specific information from each citation can refer to one specific process or at a specific part of the flow path, and additionally only to one specific substance, substance group, or bulk parameter. This basic structured or filtered information is organized in different levels of detail. The aggregation of information, the level of detail, is up to the user. For instance, you can go in for chemical parameters, for organic parameters, then ending up with the TOC. And you can go to the different substances which could summarize as bulk parameter DOC. There is natural organic matter, for instance, and anthropogenic substances, and of course, only substances or only these discretization was depending on the things we found in the literature. Of course, this work done up to now is open for further work. We can add additional substances. We can we can enlarge the structure by insertion of lines and columns for the future. And as I said, it's quite an open instrument for this structured collection of data and information. The overview over all citations gained through the matrix highlight topics which are often internationally reviewed. You see the hotspots of information, but on the contrast, you see also the blind areas. Maybe it's also interesting for further work to see where not so much literature is existing at the moment. Here you see the overall matrix for the chemical substances. Of course, you can do it electronically. If you want to have it directly, it should be readable with about A3 or A2 format. We thought for us and also our, I think also the Vienna Waterworks were quite happy with this overview and with this structured information. We think that it could be is a very useful tool to get direct access to detailed information, and we intend to continue this work, of course, and maybe we can work on it also to get a better access also internationally. Thank you for your attention.